Today we will see how to find out earth pressure, lateral earth pressure when soil is at rest. Earth pressure at rest, basically when there is no movement in the soil mass, neither there is movement of the retaining structure, then practically the soil mass is considered to be at rest. Here we will see it is well established that active earth pressure develops when the retaining wall moves away from the backfill. That is, this is the result of the stretching or expansion of the soil which is stored against the retaining structure. So this stretching would exert some pressure on the wall and the wall will start moving away from the backfill. Once the wall starts moving away, there would be release of the pressure. Hence, this pressure is going to be the minimum lateral pressure that will be acting on the retaining wall. In case of passive earth pressure, a retaining wall moves towards the soil. So when there is movement of the retaining structure towards the soil, it will try to compress the soil, and there is semi-infinite mass which is available behind the retaining structure which is compressing it. It will experience, the retaining structure will experience maximum resistance. Hence, the pressure which will be created or induced would be having the maximum value. Hence, the passive earth pressure would be maximum in its magnitude. In both the conditions, soil is on the verge of failure. On the verge of failure means when soil has started exerting active pressure on the wall will try to move away, and this soil mass which is behind the retaining wall will try to slide down. So at the interface of the sliding surface, shear stress is almost equal to shear strength of the soil. Hence it is called as plastic equilibrium condition. At the same time, when there is movement of the wall towards the soil mass, towards the backfill, the soil which is behind there will try to move up, because of which there would be sliding of the soil mass, and this interface will again experience the shear stress which will be almost equal to shear strength. Hence that stage is also considered as plastic equilibrium stage. But in case of the soil which is at rest, there will not be any movement. So in natural state there is no movement of the soil mass. Hence there won't be any induction of strains in the soil element. Hence the condition which will prevail would be called as rest condition. So whatever the pressure is exerted by the soil in this condition is called as earth pressure at rest. So the lateral earth pressure is called as earth pressure at rest. It is computed with the help of this formula: small p0 equals to capital K0 multiplied by sigma z. So here this small p0 is nothing but the lateral earth pressure which is acting when the soil is considered at rest. K0, it is the coefficient of earth pressure, and sigma z, it is a vertical stress acting at any given depth z below the ground surface. Okay, now we will see how that formula is derived. Consider this as top ground surface. Take this as small element of the soil which is present in semi-infinite, homogeneous, isotropic, elastic, cohesionless and dry condition. In this condition, this soil element is considered. Now this soil element will have three directions, three planes. The pressure which will be acting on this particle will be of three types. One would be the vertical pressure, that is sigma z, which we call it as vertical stress. Second would be sigma x, which will acting horizontally on this vertical plane, and third would be sigma y, which will have magnitude equal to sigma x. Since the material is considered homogeneous and isotropic, sigma y and sigma x both can be considered to be of same magnitude. Okay, and this element where we have considered it at depth z from the top ground surface. On the right hand side, here we can see this particular structure is a retaining structure. Its depth below the top ground surface is capital H. The other way also we can say this is the retaining structure which is retaining this much quantity of soil, this much height of the soil. So it is capital H. Suppose I want to find out lateral earth pressure on this vertical face of the wall. This face is called as a retaining face, which is vertical. Okay, so the pressure distribution is going to be a triangular pressure distribution, which is very similar to hydrostatic pressure variation. So here at depth z, what will be the value of lateral earth pressure? That lateral earth pressure is going to be K0 times gamma z. What is this gamma? Gamma is nothing but the unit weight of the soil, and z is nothing but the depth which we have considered at which vertical stress is to be found out. So that lateral earth pressure is going to be K0 times gamma z. Suppose I want to find out the lateral earth pressure which is acting at the base of this retaining wall. That pressure is going to be K0 multiplied by gamma multiplied by H, where H is the total height of this retaining structure. In this way, there will be triangular pressure distribution on this retaining face. As there is no displacements in any direction, theory of elasticity can be applied to the soil element. There is no movement at all, hence the soil is considered at rest, therefore it is in elastic condition. So we can apply theory of elasticity. Let us say epsilon x is the strain in lateral direction in the soil element. So this is sigma x, which is the lateral force or lateral stress acting on this element. Alright, because of this stress there would be strain. That strain is termed as epsilon x. A few times it is denoted by Ex also, small ex. Since the material we have considered to be elastic, homogeneous and isotropic, this sigma x and this epsilon x and epsilon y, that is the strains in both the direction, both lateral directions would be same. Okay, let us see. According to theory of elasticity, we can say strain epsilon x is equal to sigma x minus mu times sigma z plus sigma x, this bracket complete, and this complete quantity in square bracket would be divided by elasticity, that is modulus of elasticity, capital E. Now simply we know what is modulus of elasticity. Modulus of elasticity is nothing but stress upon strain. Hence whenever we want to find out strain, we have to rearrange the terms. After rearranging, we will be getting the stress in the numerator and modulus of elasticity in the denominator, right? Accordingly, this has been written. Fine. But this epsilon x, it is 0 because there is no movement. Hence, substituting value of epsilon x as 0, that is strain as a 0, we have to rearrange the terms. After rearranging the terms, the final equation which we obtain is sigma x equal to mu times sigma z divided by 1 minus mu. What is mu? Mu is Poisson's ratio for the soil. Okay, so this way we have derived an equation for this horizontal stress acting on a soil element considered at a depth z. Since this stress is acting laterally, horizontally, can we not replace it by a pressure which is acting laterally or horizontally? Yes, we can. Second thing, mu divided by 1 minus mu. This is a dimensionless parameter. This can also be replaced by some other factor. We will see which is that factor. So replacing sigma x by P0 and mu upon 1 minus mu by K0. What we get? Small p0 equals to capital K0 multiplied by sigma z. Do you remember? This is the equation which we have seen in the beginning. Okay, so P0 equal to K0 multiplied by sigma z. Hence, P0 is nothing but the lateral earth pressure acting at a depth z below the ground surface. Okay, when the soil is considered at rest condition. K0 is coefficient of earth pressure when soil is at rest condition. And sigma z is nothing but the vertical stress acting at the given depth z below the ground surface. Further, this equation will be written as P0 equal to K0 as it is. This sigma z has been replaced by vertical stress gamma into z. Okay, so this is unit weight of the soil multiplied by depth of the soil element, where we want to find out the lateral pressure. Now, the pressure which we have found out in our earlier slide, it is having unit kilonewton per meter square. Now, I want to find out the total pressure acting on the retaining wall. Now, to find out total pressure, what I have to do? I have to convert that pressure into force. So, kilonewton per meter square should be converted into kilonewton, for which I have to multiply pressure with the area. Which area I should consider? I should consider area of the retaining face. Here, this vertical face is the retaining face and its area would be considered as height of the face multiplied by unit length. This unit length is perpendicular to our screen, right? So, h multiplied by 1 will be the area over which this lateral pressure would be acting. And how this lateral pressure has distribution? It has triangular distribution. So, if I want to find out total pressure, what I need to do? I have to find out area of this triangular pressure distribution diagram. How to get that? It is nothing but half base into height. Half base. Base is how much? K0 times gamma multiplied by h. Right? This is the maximum lateral earth pressure which will act at the bottom. What will be the height of this triangle? It would be the complete height of this retaining face, that is h. Hence, half base multiplied by height. The formula becomes capital P0 equals to half K0 times gamma h multiplied by h, hence h square. This way, we can find out total lateral earth pressure at rest condition when the unit length of the retaining wall is considered. Okay. What should be the value of K0? If you could remember, this K0 component we have replaced basically mu upon 1 minus mu, this particular ratio. And as I mentioned before, it is a dimensionless parameter and conceptually it is a Poisson's ratio. Mu is Poisson's ratio. For solid kind of material which is elastic, it is possible to find out a specific value of Poisson's ratio. But for a granular material like cohesionless soil or any type of soil, it is very difficult to find out the exact value of or specific value of Poisson's ratio. Hence, we have to consider that value with some approximation. So, there are very n number of empirical equations available to get the value of K0, out of which the equation which is displayed on this slide, this is the common equation which is used to find out this coefficient of pressure at rest condition for cohesionless soil which is dry. Okay, so it is found out as 1 minus sine phi dash, where phi dash is the effective angle of internal friction. This equation is suggested by Jackie on the basis of his research and observation. So, there are many researchers who have suggested various formulae. This formula is applicable to cohesionless soil. What is the formula for cohesive soil? So, in case of cohesive soil, we have to consider plasticity index of that soil. So, other researchers have suggested a few correction factor, few multiplying factor or multiplication factor for this K0. But commonly we will be using this formula. Okay, so this is all about earth pressure acting at rest condition of the soil laterally on the retaining phase and the soil is dry. Now there are situations when the earth pressure can act when there is water table. Okay, consider this diagram. This is again a retaining structure, this is a backfill, and this backfill is completely submerged. So this is a level of water table. Water table is at the top of the ground surface. In this situation, now we want to find out earth pressure. The soil is still at rest. Okay, so how this earth pressure is found out? This pressure which is acting on this vertical retaining phase, now it will consist of two components. One would be pressure due to soil which is at rest, and second will be pressure due to water. Okay, how these two terms are determined? Let us see. P0 equals to K0 multiplied by, this is a quantity in bracket, gamma saturated multiplied by Z minus gamma W into Z. What is this? What is this? See, K0 is coefficient of earth pressure. This is known to us. Now consider any soil element at a depth Z. To make this equation generalize, we can say that we have considered a soil element at depth Z. Thereafter what? At depth Z, what will be the pressure acting? The pressure would be gamma saturated, means unit weight of the soil, multiplied by Z. This will be the total pressure. This would be the total pressure, vertical pressure acting at depth Z. But it consists of pressure due to water. Hence, this complete quantity cannot be directly converted into its lateral component by simply multiplying with K0. Hence, what we need to do? When we speak about the earth pressure exerted by a granular material, we have to consider its submerged unit weight. So submerged unit weight would be gamma saturated multiplied by Z minus gamma W multiplied by Z. So this is nothing but gamma submerged multiplied by Z. Okay, alright. So gamma saturated minus gamma W will give us gamma submerged, and as we know, pressure due to water is equal in all directions, but pressure due to soil is not equal in all direction, because water does not have shear strength, whereas soil will have shear strength. Hence lateral pressure is related to vertical pressure or vertical stress, but in case of water, both the pressures are same. Therefore, this K0 factor is applicable only to the soil. Hence, we are finding out gamma submerged here. Alright, but in case of pressure due to water, which is equal in all direction, it is PW. That is equal to gamma W multiplied by Z. What is gamma W? Unit weight of water. And Z, depth, which is under consideration. This way, both the pressures will be calculated and they will be added. Finally, we will be getting total value as small pH. Now we want to find out again the total lateral pressure acting per unit length, hence capital PH. So what we have to do? We have to find out area of the pressure diagram. So area of pressure diagram due to submerged weight of the soil would be half base into height. So here in the diagram you can see base is K0 multiplied by gamma submerged multiplied by capital H. This is the base, height is, total height is H. So half K0 gamma submerged multiplied by H square. So in our earlier equation this was simply gamma value, now it is gamma submerged. This is the only difference. Plus pressure due to water. So capital P W equal to again half base into height. Base of this water pressure is gamma W multiplied by H. There is no need to multiply with K0. Here K0 is going to be 1. Okay, reason we know, because pressure is same in all direction in case of water. Hence there is no any factor or coefficient to convert this gamma WH into lateral condition. So it is half base into height, half gamma w into h square. This total will give us the total lateral thrust or lateral pressure acting on the retaining face of the wall when the water table is at the ground surface. ठीक है, where this total pressures would act now? There are two pressures, P0 and PW. These pressures would be acting at h/3 distance from the base of the pressure diagram. Okay, similarly PW will also be exerted at h/3 distance from the base of the wall. That means these two arrows. So this is capital P0, this is due to submerged unit weight of the soil, and this will be the direction of lateral earth pressure. So this height, this vertical distance is going to be h/3 from the base. Similarly, for pressure due to water, this height is going to be h/3 from the base. Now, can we not find out the point of application of total pressure? Yes, it is very simple. P0 is known to us, its point of application is known to us. PW is known to us, its point of application is known to us. And total pressure is known to us, which is PW plus P0, right? Hence, what we will do, we will take moment of total pressure about the base, and we will take algebraic sum of moment of P0 and PW about the base. We will equate them. Hence, we will be getting the final point of application of the total pressure. This way, we can find out earth pressure at rest when water table is at the ground surface. Okay. Thereafter, this water table may be at some intermediate level. It may not be at the top. Let us say it is at depth small d from the top of the backfill. In this situation, what will be the effect on the calculation part? There shall be three components of horizontal pressure. First component, horizontal pressure due to soil above water table, means this portion. Okay, this portion will be dry portion. So that dry portion will exert some pressure. That will be the first component. Second component, horizontal pressure due to submerged unit weight of the soil. So submerged condition would occur below this water table. Hence, this much pressure would be exerted by the submerged unit weight of the soil. Thereafter, pressure due to water. Pressure due to water is this. So at depth Z, what will be the pressure? That if we want to find out, then we have to consider these three components. First, lateral pressure due to dry condition of the soil, lateral pressure due to submerged unit weight of the soil which is below the water table, and third, horizontal pressure due to water. Okay. What will be the expressions for this? P suffix hd means horizontal pressure due to dry soil. It is equal to K0 multiplied by gamma d multiplied by small d, because small d is the depth up to which the soil is dry. Okay, this will give us our first component, that is horizontal pressure at depth d from the top ground surface. Second component is pressure due to submerged unit weight of the soil. It is K0 multiplied by gamma submerged into Z minus d. What is Z? Z is any point at which pressure is to be calculated. So this is that point. And what is small d? It is the depth up to which the soil is dry. So basically we are considering this much portion of the soil which is submerged. Okay. So this is any point here at a depth Z at which we want to find out the pressure. In that situation, K0 multiplied by gamma submerged into Z minus d, this equation is applicable. Suppose I want to find out pressure at the bottom, then what will be the formula? Here you can see on the diagram. K0 will be as it is, gamma submerged will be as it is. This Z would be replaced by total height of the wall. Okay, that would be H minus D. That is what is written here. Okay, thereafter third component will be horizontal pressure due to water, which is equal to gamma W multiplied by Z minus D. Again, what is Z? Z is any depth which we have considered at which pressure is to be found out. This Z would be replaced by capital H when pressure is to be found out at the bottom of the retaining structure. Understood? So the formula would be gamma W multiplied by H minus D. Okay, adding these three things for depth Z, we will be getting the total pressure acting on this particular retaining face. Okay, now suppose I want to find out the total lateral pressure per unit length, that means horizontal thrust, and what I should do? I should find out area of this complete pressure diagram. Okay, so area of this triangle I will find out at the top, half base into height. How much is the base? This base is K0 into gamma multiplied by D. Okay, so this is known to us. Height is small d, so half base into height. This will be total pressure acting per unit length due to the dry portion of the soil. Now this portion would be taken as surcharge or additional force which is acting on this soil above this water table. So it will be taken as it is to the bottom. Alright. So this rectangular portion would be the second portion for which area is to be calculated. How much will be the area? This is the width, K0 into gamma multiplied by D. What is D? This D means this D. Alright. So this base, whatever we have got at the top, is the same dimension which is available at the bottom. It is a rectangular distribution. Alright. Height, how much it is? This height is capital H minus D. Hence H minus D. So H minus D multiplied by K0 into gamma into D will be this area. Fine. Thereafter we should go for finding out area of this triangle. Okay, how to find out area of this triangle? This area would be calculated as half base into height. What is the base? K0 multiplied by gamma submerged H minus D. So this topmost portion of dry soil is subtracted. So H minus D. This is base. Height is, total height is capital H minus this much distance D. So remaining height would be H minus D. That will be height. In that way, find out the area of this triangular portion. Thereafter, we have pressure due to water. This is the pressure. So we have to find out area of this triangle. Again, it is very similar to finding out area of our regular triangle. Half base into height. How much is the base? Here the water table has started from depth D, from the top of the ground surface. Hence, this water pressure would be considered from this point only. Therefore, height of this blue triangle will be H minus small d. So that will be height multiplied by base gamma W into H minus D multiplied by half. So in this way we will find out area of all these four component shapes in this pressure diagram. We will add them together. That will be the total thrust acting laterally per unit length of the retaining face. Okay, I hope this is clear to you. The next job is to locate the point of application of this total thrust. How to locate that point of application? Apply Vergnon's principle. What does that principle says? The principle says that the moment produced by resultant or total force about a given point is equal to the algebraic sum of moments produced by its component forces about the same point. Recently, we have found out areas of these component portions of this pressure diagram. From that area, we could get the total pressure for each individual element. treat them as component forces. Take their moments about base. Alright, so for this triangular portion, first triangular portion, where will be its total pressure? Total pressure would be acting somewhere here, okay, and it will be towards the wall. Alright, the total pressure will be like this here. This much portion would be taken as h by 3 from the base of the triangle. Here height is d, hence it is taken as a d by 3. But we are taking its moment about the base, this base of the retaining phase. Hence this distance would be d by 3 plus h minus d. So moment produced by this first component P1 will be P1 multiplied by this much height. Okay, for rectangle, this is the CG. Here there will be pressure acting laterally. Let us call it as P2. So moment produced by P2 about the base would be P2 multiplied by this distance. How much is this distance? This distance is going to be height of this rectangle divided by 2. It means capital H minus D divided by 2. Alright, in this way we will be calculating lever arm for P2 and thereafter we will be getting moment. So P1 multiplied by first distance, P2 multiplied by second distance. Two moments are ready with us. Third is moment produced by this triangular portion due to submerged unit weight. So that pressure P3 will be acting here, which is equal to half base into height, right? And this vertical distance is going to be 1/3 of the height of the triangle. How much is the height of this triangle? Height is h, capital H minus small d. Hence h minus d divided by 3. Okay, that will be lever arm for P3. So again, third term of moment is ready with us. Fourth would be the moment produced by this water. We will call it as P4. Again, it is a triangular distribution. So this vertical distance is going to be height upon 3, height of this triangle, height of this triangle divided by 3. How much is the height of this triangle? Again, it is capital H minus small d divided by 3 will be the height at which P4 will be acting. Thus, fourth lever arm is ready with us. So P1 multiplied by first lever arm, P2 multiplied by second lever arm, P3 multiplied by third lever arm, and P4 multiplied by fourth lever arm. This will give us algebraic sum of moment of component forces, component pressures. About which point? About the base of this retaining wall. Thereafter, we have already found out the total area of this pressure diagram, right? That is the total pressure. Let us say that pressure is acting somewhere here. This is the total pressure, pH. Okay, pH multiplied by, let us say this distance is y. pH is known to us, y is to be calculated. So pH multiplied by y will be the moment produced by resultant force. Equate both the sides, moment produced by total force and moment produced by component forces together collectively. Equate these two moments, finally we will be getting distance y. So at distance y from the base of this retaining wall, the total pressure will be acting. This way we can find out earth pressure at rest when water table is somewhere at the intermediate depth of the retaining phase.